Yeah, I'm ready, I think.
Hello, welcome back to
Morning.
Nonsense Nature. It's
Yeah.
currently 12:30 on whatever day we're on now. Hopefully, this will come out on Wednesday. Right, today we are talking about bees and how to attract them into a small holding or garden if you've got a garden. Now, we are just a bit of a disclaimer, we are not professionals at this, we have no idea
No,
what we're talking
no.
about. But we thought we'd collate some facts, and we have done so to give you a bit of an idea about it. And I've also got some places it potentially you could go to if you want to have a bit more of a research. Um, if we're not professionals at a lot of these things, we just want to provide a bit of value and a bit of
Mm.
direction, I guess, in how you can do what you want to do.
And there's also there is a lot of professionals out there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Which you need to really look at some of them as well.
Well, and
That's for
hopefully
sure.
we can get them on the podcast, don't know.
It would be nice, yeah.
Yeah, then it would be a bit more nature rather than just a lot of nonsense.
Ah,
Um,
Gillingham and Shaftesbury show next week.
yeah,
Yeah, I think I'm going to go down there. Which
14th and 15th, is it?
14th and
There
15th.
you are. If you're
There's
around,
bound to be some beekeepers and that down there, but not only beekeepers because it's everything in it. It's not just bees. It's everything around us, and all that. Lots of things that we don't see that are doing work for us. But yeah,
yeah,
be nice if we could. If you could come down as well.
we'll give it a go and hopefully
Yeah,
do some interviews with people and then
yeah.
hopefully provide that to you guys. Yeah, I think should we get into it? We're basically today I want to talk about the facts about bees and their
Well,
decline.
yeah.
And then the other side of it, which is hopefully a bit more positive, on how to attract bees to your garden, and things to avoid and things to do. Um, we try and keep this as brief as possible, so we probably will miss some key facts and figures that you probably need to know. If we have missed anything, let us know in the comments, and we'll get back to you and do a bit of research. But yeah, should we start off? So to
Yeah.
start with, I've just a bit of a fact which we both sort of always think is very interesting is how many species there are
Yeah.
in
Amazing. Yeah.
in England alone. There's more than 250 native species in England. I mean, for me, that's just amazing on its own. But then you think at how many different species around the world.
That's like 2,000, isn't it?
No, 20,000.
20,000, yeah, yeah,
It's
20,000.
even more.
Just in worldwide, but I mean that's quite phenomenal, really, isn't it? And when you consider, especially that within that 20,000, each one has got tens of thousands of their cells, as you might say. It's just amazing.
Mm. Yeah, there's a lot of them. I mean, same with ants. There's loads of ants, but we're not here to talk about ants today. So yeah, I wanted to open up a little bit with there was a podcast. A lot of you might have watched this actually. It's called Science Versus. It's like a podcast about the scientific evidence behind things. And they did one on bees, and so I had a listen to that. And they say that there's probably three main reasons why the bee population is decreasing. Again, this is sort of American statistics, so I don't know. Well, I say statistics, I've not got any statistics, but American research and stuff, so I'm not sure how much that applies here, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure it's similar.
yeah.
The three main things are the pesticides that we currently use, mites and diseases that you can give to bees, and are just our modern day living. With pesticides, I just wanted to say it's mainly this. I can't remember the exact name for it, but it's basically the nicotine pesticide that you can put on plants to stop pests,
Yeah.
and that goes on to the bees when they're trying to collect all the pollen to pollinate.
And which this is only again knowledge that I picked up the other day, which this government now has allowed one of the worst insecticides to be used in this country again. Now I'm afraid I can't remember what it was, but again, look, you can look that up, and it's just ridiculous. Pesticides are. Yes, okay. They need to be used in some cases, but it's very freely used in gardens, especially. I mean, we all blame the agriculture, but the amount of weed killers and suppressants that go into gardens nowadays are phenomenal. So everybody has to take responsibility of that. Yeah, Gosh, you're talking about all the time. They're talking about doing away with invasive species. One I was reading this morning, of course, the butterfly bush, a beautiful bud. Yeah, all right, we know it's invasive. We know it's not really meant to be here, but look at the amount of good it does. And all I was could read was how much bad it is, and it suppresses our native species. And that. Oh, I can't see that at all. I cannot see that at all.
Mm.
So I encourage it, to be honest. I love them,
Yeah.
and they smell lovely. You pick them, put them in the front room, gorgeous. So I can't see any. If that's invasive, let's be invaded. It, I can't see any
Taken
problem.
over. Yeah, and the other side of it is about the mites. Basically, now we all sort of move bees about in this well, I say this country, the world. There's a lot of Australian bees now that get moved elsewhere
Yeah,
because they seem to be one of the only bee populations that hasn't been hit so far. I say hit so far. I
yeah,
think there is some coming in now. It's a shame, but it's because of they're so tight on anything coming in
yeah,
and out of the country, which, well, clearly it's worked up to now.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I think it's important to know that, for example, our honeybees, they're not really native to us. They've been brought over, which is great, but they're immune to certain things that our bee population aren't. Some of the species that we have here. So that's been one of the really big killers, is the fact that a lot of
yeah,
our native species aren't immune to certain diseases that get brought over. Um, Although, to be honest, I don't think there's much anything that we can do as gardeners and smallholding
no,
owners can
no,
do about that.
no,
But we can do stuff about modern living, with the industrial sort of agriculture stuff. If you're lucky enough to be able to afford the slightly nicer stuff, getting more small from local farms rather than big
definitely.
industrial
Yeah, yeah,
farming
yeah,
is,
definitely.
I think
Yeah,
that's the best way to go. And the other, obviously, pesticides as well sort of links into that, because a lot of the industrial farms do have to use a lot of pesticides,
yeah.
just to keep the yield up. Um, so yeah, there are a couple of things you can sort of think about, is where you're buying your food, which I think we all get told, but still is important to think about, because even it impacts bees, you know. Um, so yeah, I think that's the main things, and that there's that's some research on science versus. Go and watch that podcast, because if you want to know a lot more like in-depth studies and stuff that was done, it was very interesting. Um, should we get on a bit more on how to attract them then,
Well, yes.
or have you got anything
Well,
else you
no.
want to
I know
facts?
one thing I was amazed at. Bees have 5 eyes. Now, where they are, I don't know. Might be something like my mother says she's got them in the back of her head and everywhere on her
Where's the
body.
fifth though?
But I don't know where they got their 5 eyes. I must look into that.
Well,
But
flies have loads as well,
five,
don't they? Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Anyway, they attracted them. I think we all really basically know how to attract them, but um, I suppose it needs reminding sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah,
On the type of again, the web is brilliant. Look on the web to get
we should be on the web.
the
That's us.
the appropriate yeah oh yeah I mean, um the appropriate flowers and that you to it ideally
So I've got a couple here.
and on your veg that you're growing again, um, have a look and see what type of plants you put alongside your veg, and that to keep the pests off, for example. But by keeping the pests off, you're also attracting the good bits. And so there's lots of flower plants to put in between your veggies and that,
Yeah.
which will really help what's around,
So
what's flitting
a
around.
really good YouTube video that I had a watch at for by the Royal Botanic Gardens, Kew, I think
Q,
Kew,
Q,
Kew.
KEU.
Yeah, that's one.
Beautiful,
Yeah,
amazing place.
it is an amazing place. So they were showing some. They had a really good video on like how to attract these types of plants. I've got sort of a bit more of a condensed version to just save you guys a bit of time. um, the main ones that they sort of said were Nepeta. Do you know that?
What?
Nepeta.
No,
Well, hopefully I'll put a photo up.
no. What's that? Yeah,
Then you also got wallflower, which you have said you
yeah.
know.
Lovely wallflower, very old-fashioned flower. My
I don't know
father
how it's
used
old
to grow them
fashioned.
in great long trenches with the seeds, and then he'd pull them out over a period of time and wrap them up in newspaper and either sell it. Well, no, he wouldn't sell them; he didn't sell nothing, but give them away to the village. And so his wallflowers are all over the village at Southwick. Yeah,
Yeah, well, apparently they're the longest flowering, well, one of the longest flowering flowers in the UK, which obviously is really good for the sort of
yeah,
longer bee season
very
to
much so.
extend it. So
Yeah,
wallflower's great. The other one that they said was lamb's ear, which is sort of the hairy plant,
land what?
lamb's ear.
Lancia. Oh, terrible! Isn't it? I hate this talking about this, and no, we can't. Oh,
Well,
I got.
it's like a furry plant. You definitely would know if you see it.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
sure.
but basically, a lot of the solitary bees. So you have obviously different kinds of bees. Again, 250 species of different ones, but the
Yeah,
solitary bees, in particular,
hey, lovely.
use those hairs as their bedding and stuff. So they'll
All
literally
right.
go in and pick out the hairs
Really? Oh,
as
well
well as
done.
getting the nectar from it.
Yeah,
So it's sort of like a
yeah.
good
Oh, I never seen
multi-purpose.
that. I've seen them taking the leaves and that into their little holes and that into the in the wood or and also in the stone and brick, of course.
Yeah.
But lovely little
Well,
things,
well,
lovely.
the other thing with that, when you were just saying that, is yeah, we can move on to the whole idea of bee hotels. That's another way that obviously
Yeah,
attracting bees is a really good thing.
yeah. I've never been successful with. I don't
Well,
know
you've not
why.
done it right, but um,
Yeah,
it can. There's different ways you can do it. It can literally be as
I
simple
suppose
as
you have
just
holes in, did they?
that. Yeah, you can't just put a bit of cardboard or something in the side of a nothing.
Uh,
But if you roll up like cardboard tubes, sort of, I don't know, small
well,
two
yeah,
centimeters or whatever, centimeter.
and Peter Canes is that
Yeah,
right?
bamboo you can
Yeah,
use, and that will give you a really good place for solitary bees.
and we also built one in down a churchyard, but that had everything. That was layered. It was quite
Yeah,
a big one, about 3 4 foot square, and that was layered,
the insect
and
hotels.
and that had everything in it. That was very successful with for the bees and all the rest of them as well.
Mm.
And I assume it's still there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously those do take a lot of time, so it sort of depends on how much time you got. Like, I mean, if you want to be really easy, you can just buy some of the kits that are like already done beehive sort of things, and it looks like little. Again, so they
Much
might not
nicer to
work,
make them
but
yourself, isn't it? Because
if you got the time,
yeah, I think most people got time. I spend too much time down the pub, so I should be doing little things like that.
maybe you could
It
go take it down with you and do it while you're at the pub.
well, I did actually take something down last night and read some papers, which was quite amazing. I don't do things like
Well, there you are. You've got a bit more time now.
that.
Now you're a retired man.
Absolutely, I've been retired forever. It seems. It's
Well,
yeah,
you're coming out of retirement for this. You're working on this.
yeah.
But the only other thing which we did actually talk about last episode, which was on butterflies, go have a look at it if you haven't seen that. Um, but ivy, which is what you talked
Oh
about
yeah,
last time,
Ivy,
and
brilliant stuff.
it's one of those things that you never really can see the flowers very easily, but they
Yeah,
are there. And they're really good for apparently a lot of the
yeah,
bumblebees and some other
yeah,
types of solitary bees use them as sort of like a last because ivy lasts a lot longer than the other sort of flowers, so they use it as a bit of like a last base to get the last bit of
yeah,
nectar out.
definitely.
Um,
Ivy's,
so yeah.
yeah. As long as it's not growing up your wall, I wouldn't, yeah, you don't want it growing on your house or even on stone walls, really, uh, because it does do damage. But in the hedges and stuff like that, leave it alone. That it's blooming good stuff. Lot of nesting areas and that as well in the spring for the birds and whatnot.
Hmm.
It and a lot of food when the berries turn black, and I mean, so much eat those berries bird wise. Yeah,
Hmm.
it, yeah.
Well, yeah, those are the main things I've really got on today, just to give you that sort of very much a snippet into it. Have you got any other things to add? I don't want to do a last bit, but any
Uh,
facts or anything? Facts
facts
they
they
can't
can't
see
see
red.
red. Bees Don't ask me why they can't see red.
Running straight into
And
me.
yet there's so many red flowers and goodness and red berries and everything else around. But yeah, I don't know. Um, the stinging of bees. Yeah, don't ever get afraid of a bee. I've had bees all my. They won't sting, not unless they are really pushed to. Reason being is they can only sting once because they will leave their stinger in. It's got a barb on it, and they can't pull it out. They can't take it out once they pushed it in, and so they are very wary about using a sting. Bumblebees exactly the same. Wasps, different story. They ain't nasty little things. They'll sting you 50 times. It won't matter. And even when they're dead or dying, you can look at them and you can see that stinger going in and out. Wasps are very different. But more importantly, don't upset a wasp. Really, leave it. If it's on your hand, on your clothes, right? Okay, yeah, you can gently say go away. That's fine, but don't try smacking it because he'll in a he'll have that stinger straight in you. I've only ever been stung once, and I don't want to do it again. That's on the wasp. Picking an apple when I was a little kid off our own tree. I went scrumping, which we did do a lot of that in mine as kids. And I mean that. And I put my hand around it. Pure Cox's orange pippin apples they were. I can remember that. And I put my hand around it, right, and the damn thing was in the other side of the thing, and he went straight into my finger. Whoa, did that hurt? Yeah, no, don't don't upset wasps. You can kill them, if as far as I'm concerned, but don't upset them.
Well, yeah, I mean
Bees,
the
oh, they're lovely.
the Infinite Monkey Cage actually did quite an interesting one on like bees versus wasps. Which, if you don't know,
Yeah,
Infinite Monkey Cage is like a Brian Cox and I can't remember the other guy's name, but
oh, he's amazing.
awesome sort of I think it's a radio thing or whatever. But but actually it seemed that wasps are actually a hell of a lot better than we think. Um, they do very much a similar job to bees, but maybe we can talk about it another time if you find this interesting.
Yeah,
I think bees and wasps, there's so many things to get into, so
yeah.
I don't know how much more we want to get into that. The only other thing, because I've been stung in the ear once in France, and that was
You
not
sure that
easy.
weren't your mother clipped you around the ear hole?
No, that was another time. But yeah, so yeah, that was painful, especially trying to go in the
Yeah,
doctors. But
yeah, yeah.
um, yeah, I think that's the main thing. That we've got a lot of stories we can always tell and things like that. But I think we've got a good amount of time there, so I think we might wrap it up unless you
Yeah,
have
well,
anything
I was
else.
just going to say there are situations with these things. If you got time, you all right? There are some people that do react to them, and that is very dodgy. If you know anybody that is possibly to react to them, they do need to be very careful because it can be very dangerous, health wise, really dangerous. A friend of mine has got that problem, and he bless him, he had to look after some bees for a friend, and he still went and looked after them, but he was very, very careful, because it just knocks you out. Bang, you've had it. Um, yeah, so just be careful if you do realize you've got a problem on venom, bee venom.
But let's not try and retract from the fact we're trying to attract bees.
Yeah, yeah, no,
So,
no, yeah, absolutely.
but yeah, I think yeah,
It
we've
is
said a
very
couple of
rare.
things.
I have to. It is very rare. No, they're fine. Let them walk around on you. They're lovely.
Well, a lot of these
Did I
beekeepers
ever?
don't even
Did I
wear
say about
stuff.
the time when I was a kid? Have I said that?
No, I mean if you're very quick, because I need to head off in
Well,
a sec.
we were cutting a hedge when I was a little boy. We were cutting a hedge, a bank on it with a rip hook and whatnot. And the farmer friend of mine, lovely, bless him. I learnt so much from him. Anyway, we hit a bee's nest, a honey bee's nest in the bank. And do you know, he got his rib hook, and he cut the hole, and he got it bigger and bigger, and enough to get his hand in, and the bees were everywhere. Bless him. And he kept saying to me, Danny, Dano, he'd call me. He said, Dano, yeah, just relax, leave them alone, don't worry, they'll be fine. And he put his hand right in the nest, and he broke off somehow or other in there a piece of cone. And this is absolutely dead true. And he pulled it out and he said, "Here, Dano," he said, "you ever had any of that?" I go, "What?" And it was a lump of cone, and I couldn't believe it. And I wasn't very old, and I said, "Do I eat the whole lot?" But he said, "That won't hurt you." And I bet God, I mean, it's an experience that there ain't many people to get. All right, they might do abroad because they hunt it, but no, not in our little English lanes. And yeah, just amazing. So, and neither of us got stung. That's more important. Neither of us got stung, and we've been in there. He'd been in there and pinched some of
Yeah.
their cone. Brilliant, marvelous. Sorry if
Yeah.
I've overrun.
No, that's all right. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there. So thanks for listening for
Yeah,
today.
lovely. Thank you.
If you enjoy some of the stories and you want to hear more stories, then say I
Yeah,
said last episode, just sort of let us know what if you have any ideas of what you want to hear from us.
I'm still on the shelf, by the way, ladies.
Yeah, yeah. So he's still open.
I still open. Yeah, really, truly.
But
Oh,
okay. Right. Well, we'll see you next week.
yeah.
Don't think we've decided what the plan is for next week. Yeah, it might be cider making because we are doing that later.
Oh, I don't know about
But
that.
we'll see. We'll see. All right. Well,
We might
thanks
be
for
we
listening.
might be just cider drinking.
Cider
Yeah.
drinking. Well, I won't complain either way. So,
Oh dear, oh dear.
all right. We'll catch you soon then.
Yeah. All the best.